Welcome to my channel, The Sigma Trader. My name's Ali. I'm a professional trader and I started this channel to help people understand what's really required to become a consistently profitable trader, to cut through all the shit that you see on social media and all the other platforms. So yeah, come and join me on my journey and I'll show you exactly what's needed to become a good trader. In order to demonstrate exactly how we draw out support and resistance, I've come onto the charts here. So this is TradingView, one of the best platforms you can get. So I would highly recommend TradingView. I use it all the time for live accounts, demo accounts. This is definitely one of the best user-friendly platforms you can get. So rule number one, support and resistance is not a straight line. The markets don't move in strict order. There's always a small degree of variation and a degree of randomness when you look at the charts. So the first thing, rule number one, is that when you're drawing out support and resistance is a zonal area. So for this, I recommend a drawing tool. In this case, it's the rectangle tool. So what you need to do is try and gauge where you see loads of candles congregating at the same spot. And what I mean by that is you've got a group of candles that change direction here, a group of candles that change direction here. And if you run your eyes along, it's kind of in the same area, it's the same zone. So I am happy to draw that there. Now, when drawing out support and resistance, like I said, you want to be in a zone. This zone has to include as many bodies and wicks as possible without breaking out to the top. So the wicks can break out to the top, but try and avoid the bodies breaking out to the top. You can have one or two break out, completely fine. So for example, if I was just to lower this slightly, those two breaking out, coming back in, not a problem. That is still part of the zone for me. Step number two, you need at least 3 touches within the zone. So when I say touches, I mean the candles need to come into the zone and then back out. And that's a touch. And like I said, the wicks can go out and the body can go out once or twice. You don't need strict rules. The reason a lot of people fail at trading is because they become very strict, and there needs to be a degree of flexibility, a degree of variation, because that's how the markets are formed. So like I said, you need 3 touches. 1 touch is chance. 2 touches is a coincidence. 3 touches is a pattern. And this is why we have the power of 3. 3 touches is confirmation. And that's exactly what you're looking for when you're drawing out your zone. So if I was to draw out, if we say that this is the resistance zone, then we would have to say that this is the support zone. Just going to extend that a little bit. So if I take this even further, there we go. So looking at 3 touches again, we have 1. I would class this as 2, 3, 4. Now what you're going to find is when drawing out support and resistance, you're going to have to do multiple levels. So there's more than just one support and resistance zone. So even though we don't have 3 touches, price has bounced back. It's almost, you've got 2 touches here. And it's a good habit to draw out these support and resistance zones as far back as you can go. and you want to leave them so that as price action is being drawn out, you can see how it reacts to previous support and resistance zones. So I would include that as a touch. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And even though they're close together, they are still touches. And like I said, it's going to take a while for your eyes to get used to this. And if we're being strict, we'd have to include this zone as well. So there you go. Even though there's 2 touches, it's as far down as price has gone, and the 2 touches is enough. I'm happy with that. I'd be happy with that if I was looking at support and resistance. So that's rule number 2, 3 touches per zone minimum. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that you may have to make adjustments. You know, the more you look at it, the more you examine where you've put your support and resistance zones, there's nothing wrong with making minor adjustments to include the wicks and the bodies to get maximum effect. Step number 3. The other thing to realize is that true support and resistance will flip-flop. Support will become resistance, resistance will become support. So I'll try and find a good example of here. So here we can see this is support when price action goes from here to here. But when it breaks through, it also becomes resistance. So price action bounces off. This is something you should see when drawing out your support and resistance line. They should switch. And if you don't see that switch, it's not a true support and resistance area. So that's something to bear in mind as well. That's rule number 3. Support and resistance are powerful zones, and you should see definitive turning points, and you should see them switch from support to resistance, from resistance to support. That's the final thing. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention was how can you use this in your trading? Okay, how to use support and resistance with your style of trading, whatever that might be. You could be trading any style, discretionary, mechanical, trend following, trend reversal, whatever it might be. Because we've drawn out the support and resistance zones on the daily time frame, and let's say our trading time frame was the 4 hour. If we go down to the 4 hour here, so we're on the 4 hour charts now, and I've left the support and resistance drawings from the daily time frame. So how you would trade this, no matter, like I said, no matter what your style of trading is, you would wait for price action to reach these zones, because it's highly likely it's going to react a specific way when it gets to these zones. So on the 4 hour, if I was trading a reversal, so we can see that price has come down, it's gone back up into the zone, there's a very good chance it's going to reverse, which it does. But obviously you need an entry signal. Now, you would need a specific signal. Let's just say it's a doji. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so we can see if there's any dojis here. So, doji here. I'm just going to draw out an arrow. Just going to put an arrow on there to mark where the doji is. There we go. So there's a doji there. Now, depending on your risk appetite and your risk reward, this is a potential reversal. Now, if you're a 2-to-1, which I am, and I always put the stop loss 3 to 5 pips above. So that's the entry there. Oops, wrong one. Just going to get rid of that. So remember, the price has come into the zone. We're looking for an excuse for it to go the other way. The excuse in this occasion is the doji. Oops, let's get rid of that again. Okay, so it's going to adjust this so it kind of 3 pips above. Entry point is there. And unfortunately, it doesn't give us a 2-to-1. We get stopped out just here. Okay, that's fine. We'll move on to the next one. Now, price action hasn't broken away too much. There are not any clear breakaways from that zone. So we can continue with this. Okay, so doji, if we'd have put our stops here and entries just below, it wouldn't have entered. Another doji. And then we'll do the same again. So stop loss just above, entry just below. I'll just move that across so we can see it more clearly. Now on this occasion, we get 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1, and if you had a trailing stop loss, you could make a good profit out of this one because it gets to about 8-to-1, 10-to-1. But I would highly recommend that you back test these strategies to make sure what's your optimal risk reward. But that is how you would trade in a support and resistance zone. So if you were trading the stop loss and it came to the support zone, that would be a good point to get out of your trade. So this is how you would trade support and resistance. Okay, so we've got one loser, and I've included that because not every single trade is going to win, and that's why I've left that in there. But this is a good example of how you use support and resistance. So let's say, for example, you don't trade the dojis and you trade a different pattern, a 3-bar reversal. There we have a 3-bar reversal. If you want to know more about patterns and how I use them and exactly how to identify those, stay tuned to the channel. I will be looking at those in more detail, but that is how you use support and resistance. If you've got value from this channel, leave a comment. I will be making loads more of these, so stay tuned guys. Thank you.